Hi guys, welcome back to Lunatic Astrology. I am your astrologer, Lori Lothian, and today we're going to talk about Mercury retrograde, which starts today on September 27th, runs through up till October 18th. It is one of the most cool, if not like lucky, Mercury retrogrades I've seen in a long time. And that's because it's starting on a very powerful star called Spica and also Arcturus. Both of them bring fame and wealth and luck and goodness and support. And yeah, so it's kind of pausing, turning around Mercury today and on the right against those beautiful stars. So that's a very auspicious feeling. I'm going to call this Mercury retrograde, and we will do all signs. I'm going to call it uncovering deep truths and revealing treasures. And it's going to be like a treasure hunt for the 3 weeks that it goes retrograde. Mercury going backwards in the sky, from our perspective on Earth, will feel a little bit like you're digging under the surface to find a treasure. And the reason it's going to feel like that is because during Mercury's retrogradation, he is squaring Pluto in Capricorn. And now Pluto, the god of the underworld, the god of treasures, think of like, dragons guarding them, think of wealth, think of power, think of dark and subversive and mysterious and forbidden things. So uncovering secrets, the treasure of a secret revealed, uncovering the treasure of wealth that was hidden from you, uncovering something that you need to know now. This is also a story that's going to end with, at the end of the retrogradation on October the 18th, right, in a very sweet way. It's going to end with Mercury in a beautiful sextile to Venus, who will by then be in Sagittarius, and also to a trine to Saturn, who's in Aquarius. Those are positive flowing energies that are going to support Mercury's coming out party. I need to plug my computer in so that the treasure is, of course, Venus, right? Goddess of money and baubles and jewels and, all of that. And Saturn giving endurance and legacy to stuff. So whatever we're going to dig deep for in the 3 weeks of this retrogradation, we're going to get the treasure from it. Now, pay attention to synchronicity, okay? Because Mercury is close to Earth, and when he's close to Earth, he's more magical, he's more mysterious, he's more magician-like, and he brings that sort of synchronistic, serendipitous feeling to things unfolding before us. Now, I'm going to do all signs, and I'm going to do a very light touch with the all signs. I'm going to highlight what I think is important. And, I'm going to focus a bit on some of the highlights during the retrogradation, like on October 3rd, when Mercury will trine Jupiter. That's going to be a really sweet day. And it's carrying on a larger story, by the way, but I'm going to do that in the all signs. I'll remind you of the dates of all of this stuff. Before I go ahead and tell you, based on your rising sign, sun or moon, and your rising sign is the most accurate, what you can expect by playing consciously with the retrogradation of Mercury. And he does retrograde approximately, guys, every 3 or 4 times a year. He's retrograde about 19% of the time. It's more frequent time frames of retrogradation, but a lot less than the other planets in terms of how many months he's retrograde. Now, there's also the fact that he's going to be kind of hovering, in a position that's really close to Mars when Mars goes into the heart of the sun on October 7th. And it's almost like he's listening in to the rebirth of Mars. Now, I'm going to be doing a separate video on Mars death and rebirth, all right, which will happen around 13, 14 degrees of the sign of Libra. So stay tuned for that. And I'll be bringing Mercury back into the story then. So just keep in mind, I don't want to talk about that in this video. Okay, so check the description. Oh yeah, don't forget to like my channel, subscribe, hit the little bell thing there. When you subscribe, it'll give you notifications when I have new content. I'm so excited. I've got like suddenly a nice little boost in subscribers. And I think some of that came from being on my teacher of Nightlight Astrology at Chuta Baba's channel a week ago, in which I was talking about becoming a professional astrologer. And if that at all interests you, his course is coming up, the one I took in 2018 to study Hellenistic astrology. And I've been an astrologer of modern astrology for years, but it was a game changer to learn Hellenistic astrology or traditional astrology. So check the description link below for his channel. Where I'll link to my interview. And then if it intrigues you what you're learning from me, go ahead and check him out and get aboard his new class, which starts, I believe, in November. Okay, so it's a year-long class, and you get certified, and you have to take a test at the end and all of that. And you can take it for fun as well. Okay, so let's get rolling and talk about every sign. And I'm going to open up this screen for you guys so you can see what I'm looking at. And yes, September 27th, October 18th, right? We're forecasting all you guys and giving you a little heads up about what's going to be happening. So we're going to probably start with Cancer rising today. And the reason I'm going to do that, in case you're wondering, is because where I live in Vancouver, Canada, it is in the Cancer zone of the chart. Sorry, I don't see it yet. It's trying to get it up. You probably see it before I do. It's a Cancer zone of the chart where I live in Vancouver, Canada right now, that was rising in the sky, Eastern Horizon 5, when this retrograde became exact, which was actually in Pacific Coast time around 11 p.m. last night. And then, of course, in the wee hours for Eastern Coast time. And of course, later, even for those in Europe, etc. So really, it's a retrogradation, depending on where you live, that began on the 26th, 27th of September. So let's begin then with Cancer rising sign, sun and moon. And always check your rising sign first. It will be more accurate. But then sun and moon can also be quite useful to round things out. So Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. We're going to address a few hot spots here. First of all, don't forget, we got Spica for luck and protection, and we got Arcturus for fame and fortune and success. We got these two very beautiful stars of luck, protection, fame, fortune, success lined up with Mercury when he stations to go retrograde. Now, he stations at 25 degrees of the sign, alrighty, of where he's traveling, which is Libra. And that is going to be an important thing if you guys are thinking about making changes with your home. So this is a blessed area ordained by the two powerful stars I just mentioned, saying that going back and doing things to do with real estate deals, renovating your home, changes in your home, things that you want to go back and do differently or do again or revise from your home or in your home are going to bring you some kind of treasure as you go, spelunking into the undercurrents of the chart. Now, your fourth house, Cancer, can also be your mother, the house of your mother, representative of your mother, your maternal lineage, but also just the house of your ancestors. So sometimes that can mean that with a retrogradation, you might hear from some ancestors or some people up the family line that you haven't heard from coming back out of the woodwork. You could also do some family constellation or ancestral line healing or work like that. That would be very good timing for that stuff if you want to do it. But more fundamentally, it's great for real estate contracts and deals to be revised, to be done again, or renovations and revisions about things in your home to be attended to, especially when it comes to beautifying your home. Because with Libra as the fourth house sign, ruled by Venus, you tend to want to make your home aesthetically pleasing or beautiful. So you might think, oh my God, I've got to paint this wall all over again. I chose the wrong color last time I did it, something like that. Now, this treasure hunt that involves Pluto, the treasure is in the house of your significant relationships. Pluto is guarding the treasure in the seventh house over here, seventh house of marriage, business partnerships, and significant others in your life. Now, if you have clients, these could be your clients. If you have an audience, this can be your audience. But the gist of it is, it's the others around you that are important to you, people who are not you. This is not your children, all right? That's fifth house energy. So keep that in mind. So you're going to find that your treasure is in something to do with those areas of the chart. And during this retrograde, you'll be incited to maybe dig into the underground of your marriage or your business partnerships or your work with clients to find out where that treasure really does sit, because that is what this chart is telling us. Now, just to be clear, Mercury did cross over, a square to Pluto going direct September 22nd. All right, so go back to around September 22nd, because on October 1st, okay, that's when Mercury will be in a precise square to Pluto. And then again on November the 2nd. So it's direct, retrograde, direct, three-part story. So you're going to be able to piece this treasure hunt together, trust me. But it is when Mercury goes into full direct motion on October the 18th that certainly something that was hidden, under the surface of your marriage or business partnerships. It's like a treasure can be revealed. Now, I'm not going to mince this one. It is a square, and secrets are part of Pluto's wheelhouse. So if your marriage partner has kept a secret from you, or your business partner, it will come to the surface. However, it will be a healing thing, and it will yield a greater treasure. And why do I know that? Because on October the 18th, as Mercury stations to go direct, he does that in a lovely trine to Saturn, okay? And that Saturn in Aquarius is in your money house, and in a lovely sextile to Venus in Sagittarius, which is a placement of your work. So work and money improvements for sure, and health as well at the end of this retrograde, but a deeper treasure from something in your 7th house being revealed to you. Is that all I want to say? And watch for that little lucky moment in the sky that's happening, which I'll go over again, but Mercury will retrogradation trine Jupiter on October the 3rd. Now, he did that in September 19th of 2021, and he'll do it on, as I said, October the 3rd, because he's stationing to go retrograde. Sorry, what was I going to say? I'll have to ponder my scrawly notes. Yeah, it is October 3rd that he is going to be trining Jupiter again. I'm just having a moment to make sure that's true. I'm just thinking about, is that true? Is he going to trine Jupiter at that point? Okay, I'm going to pause to make sure, because I don't know. I'm having a moment of, yeah, really? I'm just having a moment that I don't remember if my notes were like taken in the middle of the night. I'm not sure. So let me just go double check. Okay, Cancer, I was right. So I'm going to go back to the screen and finish up what I was saying to you, which I now will have to repeat for everybody else, but at least I've got my bearings. Yeah, so it is October the 3rd that retrograde Mercury will trine Jupiter. He did that around September 20th. And on November 1st, he'll do it again. So I want you to think about, go back to the 20th of the month of September and see what goodness was happening, because Mercury trine Jupiter can be basically just good news. Something good news was happening. We're going to deepen that good news and make it even better around October 3rd. And then we're going to put the finishing touches on it November the 1st. So keep that in mind. I hope that's exciting for you. And we're going to keep going. I need to get some water soon. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. All right, so you're digging for some treasure, revealing the truth, going under the surface, digging deep, looking for that treasure. All righty, with that Mercury retrograde, the treasure will be sitting in your natal 6th house of health protocols and work. And you're going to, that's where Pluto sits. The treasure is with Pluto. And Mercury is the one investigating and digging deep to find what that goodness is. And so he's doing that from your 3rd house of your local neighborhood, your siblings, your aunts, uncles, and cousins, things you might want to learn, study, skills-based education, trips and travel. So a trip or a travel or a journey could be very fortuitous. It won't be long distance, though, more likely a domestic travel. And, if you want to learn something, particularly a workshop or a class or skills-based learning kind of thing, that could be very good. This is also your social media land, where you have on your virtual community and your online platforms. So some of you guys could really be digging into that world to increase the treasure of your work. If you work online, you might be renovating, revising, changing your website, your courses. If you teach courses, your course materials. Some of you Leos may also find that just taking a trip turns out to open gateways of better health protocols, treasures in the 6th house, but also great goodness of work developments that serve you, and reminding you there's a glorious star that starts this process, Spica and Arcturus, bringing a junket of goodness, fortune, and success to the beginning of the Mercury retrograde as he starts his journey. Highlighting, of course, the other parts of the retrograde journey. I really want to focus on the positive on this. So we're going to talk about, the goodness of Mercury trining Jupiter. Well, Mercury will trine Jupiter on October 3rd, but he already trined Jupiter September 20th. We'll do it again November 1st, 3 parts, right? So keep your eye on the ball for some good news around October 3rd. And again, later on, November the 1st. So he is already direct then. And also when he's searching for this treasure and where you're looking for this treasure, go back to September 22nd, because that was when Mercury first squared Pluto in your 6th house. Did you have negotiations around work, your boss, employees, your employers? Did you discover something about your health that you could improve or fix, or a new way to improve or fix your health. And if that's the case, then whatever happened back then, September 22nd, will kind of come into October 1st, a more of a revision or a deepening of that. And then lastly, November 2nd, hallelujah, the full treasure hunt has fully been completed and you've got the goods in your hand. To me, it looks like you could be developing some new opportunity locally for work or health developments at the very least, or learning something that's going to propel you to new power in your work. Mercury, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, Pluto's guarding the treasure in the 5th house of babies, children, romance, the muse, pleasure, fun, play, sexuality, inspiration, and money, luck, especially through gaming or speculative investments. Now, there's treasure in them there lands. And Mercury is starting off under the light of fixed star Spica and Arcturus, full of glory, fame, success, luck, protection, and goodness and nourishment. So there's something good that's trying to happen during this retrograde regarding that 5th house treasure chest. With this Mercury story of digging for the thing that's hidden from view in that 5th house, the 5th house is the divine spark, the joy spark, the joie de vivre, the joy of life, the place of inspiration. If you've been feeling uninspired, there's an attempt in this treasure hunt to revisit what inspiration means to you, to go deeper underneath the surface with the magic and mystery of a Mercury retrograde, to find what matters in terms of what inspires you. Now, it is going to be then, it was then September 22nd that this treasure hunt began, the first square from Mercury to Pluto. And then the second hit of that is October the 1st, and the last is November the 2nd, a treasure hunt in 3 parts. Pluto keeps secrets, and the 5th house is your children. One of your children may have kept a secret from you, some of you Virgos, and it's going to be disclosed, but it's good that it is disclosed. It's because it's bringing goodness to the story. Or if you have a lover or sexual partner, that person as well, not really a spouse. The 5th house is more like our dating partners. That person could reveal something that was hidden from your awareness during this retrograde, but it will be a good thing. And lastly, sex partners and lovers from the past, or children that you lost touch with, could come back to you and divulge a treasure of some sort to you from that 5th house. And Mercury retrograding in your 2nd house is asking you as well to look at new ways to create money and revenue in your life, to revise the ways you've been doing it and find something better. Ultimately, Mercury revising things in the 2nd house of earnings and value and possessions, with powerful Pluto in another money house of money, luck. This is boding really well for a big turnaround for most of you Virgos in your money story. You're excavating some really luscious treasure here. I certainly wouldn't say don't play the lottery, but play it lightly. Maybe Pluto is in the house of wins and gains from lotteries. Alrighty. What else? And that lucky, happy sky, good news was Mercury trining Jupiter. Well, you had a bit of that around September 19th. Something might have happened then. It looked good for your money, look good for your love life, look good for your romance, look good for your children, or good for pregnancy. And then on October the 3rd, you get another bit of good news, and it may be connected to the 1st because we're going back to revise old territory as Mercury retrogrades. And then October 3rd, another final touch, November 1st, the icing on the cake of good news. And of course, your good news seems to be mostly about money, just so you know. All righty, moving on. All right, remember I started at Cancer. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, looks like the treasure is in your 4th house of land, home, real estate, mother, family of origin stuff, ancestral line. There's treasure down there. The 4th house is the underworld of the chart. And typically, when Pluto's there, we could be talking about gold, silver, cryptocurrency, things we mine, right? So what do you have to technically mine that's powerfully potent and good for you? That Mercury going backwards in your Libran 1st house is looking to help you discover. So Mercury did actually talk to Pluto in that first square already. As I said, September 22nd. This October 1st is a retrograde return. So go back to what you were doing around September 22nd, and understand that you're going to be doing it again. Like you're going to go deeper, you're going to revise, you're going to look more closely, you're going to investigate more closely. Because Mercury is retrograding in your first house, it's the house of your body, the house of your identity. You may be going back to look at things you want to revise about your appearance, about the way you show up in the world, about the name that you go by. You know, literally, like I'm an astrologer, I'm a writer, I'm a shaman, whatever. I'm a politician, because you know how we name ourselves is the first house. What we call ourselves often. You know, the label on your shirt at a conference is your first house. Mercury asks for revisions there. He's going backward, right? But there's treasure to be found. And maybe you're going to revise your sense of who you are, can contrast it to your mother or your family of origin or your ancestral line. Of course, November the 2nd, yeah, it's all over. It's a done deal. This treasure has been recovered. And we know that on the 18th, when Mercury goes direct, he's going to trine Venus, and he's going to trine Saturn and sextile Venus, which is such a sweet little piece of sky. I may not mention this for everybody. I apologize if I didn't, but for you guys, for you Libra people, this sextile to Sagittarian Venus from your Libra first house could be a beginning of a love story in a local area around where you live, or because of a trip. And that trine to Saturn around the 18th, when things go direct, will also bring some really sweet blessings, because the Aquarian zone is the romance house. So for some of you Libras who are single, October 18th onward could refresh the love story in your life. All right, I'm grabbing some water. I'm not turning this darn video off. I'll be right back. Alrighty, moving on. Libra. Oh, I just did Libra. Sorry, guys. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, first of all, let's talk about the treasure. The treasure that's guarded by Pluto is in your third house of siblings, third house of your aunts and uncles and maybe cousins, and the third house of your local neighborhood, third house of your online world. So a lot of you Scorpios have had Pluto in the online world, your virtual community for a long time, since 2008. I bet you've been killing it trying to build out online world stuff, but it's also where you can learn things. And so maybe some of you Scorpio rising, sun, moon people have been wanting to learn something. Now, Pluto would give you something to learn, a skills-based learning that will give you great power, maybe even wealth. And so Mercury squaring this from your 12th house of your dreams at night and your self-undoing, your hidden realms, your past lives. It's a very sort of evocative, subtle realm. It's almost very dreamy. There's something going on by paying attention to your inner life, Scorpios, your inner realms, your dreams especially. Mercury is a messenger of the gods, and he does give messages through our dreams at night. By paying attention to that, especially when he's very magical retrograding, you're going to get some really good information, which he's good at delivering, or uncovering and revealing something from the depths of the third house. Now, your retrogradation passes October 1st, when this is precise between the treasures being, really looked at between around the 1st of October by Mercury and Pluto. Mercury's looking at it and Pluto's guarding it. But September the 22nd was the first time Mercury got its eyeballs on that treasure. So October 1st is going back in with a pick and a shovel, but the shovel and the pick are through your dreams, meditations, insights, reveries, trance channeling, journaling, daydreaming, vision boarding, whatever else, all these 12th house vibes. And it will be on November the 2nd that the last pass happens, where then things are all systems go. You got the treasure in your hands and you're going forward. I think it could look like a positive development in something you're learning, or something that you're teaching online or in real life, or some really strong development with a sibling, aunt, or uncle that's going to favor you because it reveals treasure. Now, don't forget, Pluto is a secret keeper, and secrets revealed in the family from siblings or aunts and uncles and cousins is entirely possible. That's okay though, because whatever's revealed will be useful for you. Happy news is the good news vibe when Mercury trines Jupiter, which he did on September 19th. Go back and think about it. What good news was coming your way, especially when you think about where Jupiter is sitting in your fourth house. So good news about your home or your ancestral line or your mother or your real estate, or where you live and all of that. And then on October the 3rd, there was that retrograde similar good news pass, and it will be connected somehow to the earlier pass in September 19th, 20th. So connect the dots, right? And the last time, so there's a revision, a deepening, and investigation of what that good news was then. And then, like an example, well, that's not a good example, but if it's about real estate, you know, you found a place you wanted to buy September 19th, you made an offer and they dug into the nitty gritty of deals and contracts around October the 3rd, the good news there, you know, oh my God, it looks like we're going to have a deal. And then by November 1st, everything is working and moving forward. So it's kind of like good news, good news, good news, September 19th, October 3rd, November 1st, regarding homeland, real estate, okay, ancestral land, all of that. Okay. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. So you guys are having this energy kick in where there's treasure hidden by Pluto in your second house of money. Well, you know, for a lot of you Sagittarius, this is going to be a good one, right? We all love the possessions, earnings, and money second house when something good happens there. And so the goodness is there is something that is going to be uncovered or revealed to you in that part of the chart. Now, technically, in a modern astrology sense, it's a house of self-worth and it's a house of what you value. You could be digging deeper into your own sense of worth and value and what you value, as well as receiving powerful money goodness during this treasure hunt. You know, the way that Mercury's operating is from your 11th house of good spirit up at the top here, which is actually a very sweet place, full of, you know, pennies from heaven, really good financial gains from one's career, success through the help of friends as allies or benefactors. What kind of allies and benefactors might be operating to support you for greater financial gain in your life, Sagittarius? This especially speaks to collaborations and agreements, treaties, and partnerships in groups of friends or groups of belonging. So, you know, I belong to an astrology profession. You might belong to the Actors Guild, but collaborations are going to serve you to increase your wealth. And Mercury is trying to bring that about. This is what he's doing in his treasure hunt. Now, his retrograde motion is October 1st, where he's exactly square Pluto. So you could have some big revelations and some exciting developments then that he's been bringing to you since September 22nd, when he first made touch with Pluto to look at the treasure in that second house of possessions and worth and value and money and earnings. And, you know, the last journey of this connection of the treasure hunt and the sleuthy investigator going and investigating and finding more details, Mercury, the last pass is going to be November 2nd. Now, Mercury can also bring legal agreements, especially in Libra. And just because this is hitting a lot of money angles, 11 and 2 are money houses, you could be making money deals, signing contracts about money that's going to increase your earnings. So this could all be about like gains in your way you earn money through agreements and contracts and partnerships and collaboration. The good news transit, just call it that, you know, Mercury, the god of the male, and Jupiter, the god of good news, expansion, and growth. They trine each other on September 20th behind us, October 3rd as Mercury's retrograde, and November 1st as Mercury goes direct. Think of that as a 3-part story of good news coming to you, courtesy of Mercury in your 11th house. I already defined the 11th house. So that's your friends and allies, great gains from your career, your hopes, dreams, and wishes, all of that. Now, you could even revise your hopes, dreams, your goals, your wishes for your life as Mercury retrogrades here during these 3 weeks. And if you do that, what you unearth beneath the surface dreams are the deeper, truer dreams for what you want. And Mercury then finishes up that story at the end of yes, on November 1st. Now, Jupiter's participating, of course, he's the guy who's got the key to the goodness and the expansion. And this involves siblings and aunts and uncles and cousins and trips and travel. So keep those themes in mind, because the goodness can come through journeys, trips, travel, siblings, and any educational direction that you choose, the skills-based learning, especially if it's an online course or a shorter course, right? A workshop, a seminar, those things all hold the key to good luck for you and good news during this time, finishing up on November the 1st. Halfway through, Capricorn, sun, moon, rising sign, the treasure is you. You are holding the treasure. Pluto's in your first house. Now, hey, it's been hard, right? Since December 2008, you've had this transit. Was it December 2007? But anyway, since 2008, Pluto's been in Capricorn, terraforming, transforming, reinventing, molting, metamorphosizing you, your body, your mind, your sense of who you are, your identity, all been under a huge amount of transformation. And this is still happening until 2024. Okay. A little bit of lightening up in 23, but in earnest, you're done in 2024, or is it 23, but around there. And one of the things that's going to happen with this Mercury is in the house of your career, and it's a changing of the career direction in some way. Mercury is helping you come to a sense of greater personal power, wealth, and command of your life by revising some things in the house of career and work and public reputation. Now, secrets can be revealed with Pluto going in retrograde motion. So a secret could be revealed by you, or information that someone doesn't have in the workplace, like the boss, that then furthers your career or enhances your career direction. New contracts, agreements, negotiations, and promotions and deals can be happening with Mercury up there right now. Well, Mercury started on September 22nd to dig for the treasure. He's really digging in because he's going backwards on October the 1st. And that's when you can really expect some news to develop around this treasure in the work area of your chart. You may not be able to exactly grab it right away, and I wouldn't suggest signing a contract during the retrograde if you can avoid it, but he will go direct by November 1st and fulfill the promise of some work treasure. And I think this work treasure for you is going to be a really sweet spot, because the whole retrograde starts with Spica and Arcturus, stars of fame and fortune and luck and all of that. So I'm really thinking it's a breakthrough. Good news happening September 20th behind you, October 3rd and November 1st. Those are the dates that Mercury will will trine Jupiter. Mercury again in that 10th house of career, but trining Jupiter in the second house of earnings. So certainly, there's no doubt about it, whatever you're negotiating, whatever this deal making Mercury treasure hunt is about, it's going to be good for your money. It's going to be good for your earnings. You're going to increase your value, self-worth, self-possession, and maybe your earnings. So it looks very much like financial promotion. So be patient. October 3rd, the retrogradation could be negotiating old territory, digging in, researching more about maybe how you want to ask for the promotion, or maybe your boss is revising the promotion or whatever, or your reputation is under revision, but it's going to spit out November 1st with a really good yay. Lastly, the 10th house is marriages, right? Weddings and marriages, like not the actual being in the marriage, but like the announcements of I'm married, I'm engaged, I'm divorced. Well, Mercury's going to retrograde there, and then it's going to go forward. It's possible that if you're not married, you could announce an engagement. If you're married, you could be announcing a separation or a divorce. If that's true, it's good for you. All right, that's all I'm going to say about that. Oh, sorry, I went too fast. All right, Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. So first of all, there's treasure in your 12th house. So this is very subtle, you Aquarians. I mean, you've been going like me. I'm an Aquarius rising through a long journey since 2008 of self-undoing and self-defeating habits being abolished and, taken out by Pluto. And you've been going deep into your own past life stuff, your own habits and patterns. And you might even experience death, like die before you die, of the ego. So enlightenment-y stuff. Now, Pluto is receiving during this particular Mercury square, and reminding you that Mercury squares Pluto in the past, September 22nd, coming up October 1st, and then again direct on November the 2nd. What this seems to be about is from Mercury's point of view, it's about your truest purpose in life. It's your dharma. He's up there in the house of the meaning of life, the dharma path. Now, you could be going deeper than you've ever gone in understanding why you're here on the planet, what you want to do, what your contribution can be that's really meaningful and fits who you really are. You could also be learning things because it's a higher education house, and it can be about studying and learning in depth something. I'll give you an example. I'm starting an archetypal astrology class with a guy named Ren Butler, who I heard about the class just recently, but it happened during the time between September 19th and now, after I got that ping from the first September 22nd, I mean, Mercury square Pluto. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in a 6-month course of study about another astrology feature of astrology. So that's an example. You might be pinged to go into a deeper dive into something of learning something likely that you already know, because Mercury is retrograding over old ground and going deeper to studying something you know. If you're writing a book and want to publish a book, this is revising the book during the retrograde, and going deeper to reveal to yourself more about what it is you're writing, like understanding it more, revising it. It's fiction, understanding the motives of your characters, all of that. Now, there's good news in the sky. Oh, don't forget, this all started off with Spica and Arcturus, where Mercury was sitting when he's stationed to go to retrograde, which just blesses the whole ordeal of this retrograde with such luscious fame, fortune, success, protection, goodness. Now, the good story, the happy story of Mercury in a trine, messenger of the gods, in a trine to Jupiter, god of Mount Olympus, and he was Mount Olympus, god Jupiter's right-hand man, delivering the news, so to speak, to everybody. Well, this September 19th behind you, October 3rd coming, and November 1st as well. Those 3 passes of Mercury trine Jupiter are about good news. And the good news in this case is, of course, coming from the Dharma and 9th house, also foreign lands, by the way, good news from foreign shores, foreign lands. Some of you may try to go back and travel to a place you've been before. I should have said that earlier, because Mercury's retrograding in the house of foreign lands. You might plan a trip to somewhere you've been before. But the Jupiter piece is in the 1st house of your body and your identity. And this is really auspicious for things that you want to do, 9th house, trips, travel to foreign shores, education, writing, to fortify your physical form. Jupiter trying to bring bounteous, blessed health to your body, making you a little chubby there, but nonetheless trying to get you healthy, but also, really informing your identity. Jupiter is trying to expand you into who you want to really become in this Aquarian story that you're playing out. Keep that in mind, that this is good news about identity as it connects to the 9th house, which again brings me back to the Dharma story. I hope that's useful, you Aquarians. Okay, we're moving on. Moving on up to the big time. All right, I keep passing by. That's this show called The Jeffersons, sitcom back in the day. Pisces sun, moon, and Pisces rising sign. This is going to be a treasure hunt for the treasure of something in your 11th house of good spirit up there. That Pluto in the 11th house, well, 11th house is a house of luck and great gains from the career and pennies from heaven. And Pluto can be a wealth god. So keep that in mind. All righty. I think that it's quite possible you're going to experience some really juicy financial breakthrough because of Pluto in this particular treasure hunt, with Mercury digging deep from the 8th house of bank loans, inheritances, spousal money, jointly held monies, tax rebates, royalty income. So money that you get from people that aren't you, that you're not really necessarily getting as a salary, for instance. So this is a money story for you Pisces rising sun and moon people. And, there's a digging for the treasure. Mercury is digging for the treasure with like his mind, his sleuthing investigation, his mental, capability in Libra. Can involve legal affairs, lawyers, contracts, and documents to unearth some great gains here for you. Now, those great gains can support your deepest dreams, hopes, and wishes for your life. That's the 11th house. It is the house as well as your karmic reward. Is this a reward time? I hope so. And you might also find that there's a powerful friend who becomes an ally for you, or a benefactor. Power, Pluto, 11th house. A friend that wants to support you to create greater wealth. It could be a friend who gives you a stock tip and you say, yeah, I'm going to buy a stock, because the 8th house can be investment monies. It certainly is inheritances as well. I'm going to just not mince words there. This may not be the actual inheritance during the retrograde, but by November 1st, 2nd, when, sorry, by November 2nd, it could be money from an inheritance or from a spousal support, alimony, whatever else. Remember, it's a 3-part story, September 22nd, October 1st, and then November 2nd, before the whole story is complete. And I know it will end on a happy note, October 18th, because when Mercury does go direct, then, you know, he is going to be sextiling Venus. And that's just always about good money stuff, right? So just keep that in mind, sextiling Venus in the house of courts. So I think some of you guys are going to get money through inheritances or court affairs from spousal arrangements, especially in divorce type settings or dividing assets with a partner. All right. The good news thing is Mercury trines Jupiter, September 19th, October 3rd, and on November 1st. 3-part story. Retrograde is the October 3rd pass. This is about some good news vibe, and the good news is coming. As I already said, it doesn't change. Mercury's in that 8th house of the money story. So it can be sometimes occult mysteries and knowledge. It can sometimes be things like, you know, digging deep into the tantric sexual world and all of that. So keep that in mind. So the good news, though, that was around the 20th or so of September, that October 3rd retrograde and then November 1st direct, 3 parts of good news. The good news is coming from Jupiter, and Jupiter is in your dreams at night, your meditations, your self-undoing. Jupiter here is trying to give you big dreams, like big dreams, understanding yourself. Jupiter can bring you a spiritual guide or teacher or mentor or shaman who wants to work with you here. Pay attention to that possibility. October 3rd, a teacher from your past comes back. You work with that teacher to your great gain. And then you go forward, leaping forward November 1st. Pay attention to emails, messages, and news then, because that's Mercury's wheelhouse, from somebody like a teacher from the past. But more importantly, the 12th house. It's your inner life that's going to yield some of the goodness. So go inward here, because what you reveal from your inner life is going to impact your finances in a positive way, especially around self-defeating habits and patterns. Aries, sun, moon, and rising sign. We're coming to the last 3 of you. I'm getting ready to sign off. I'm not so good at talking so much. So Aries, you guys are finding treasure. I'm an Aries sun and moon folks. We're finding the Pluto's guarding the treasure in the 10th house of our career. Now, for all of us Aries since 2008, we've been going through a lot of terraforming and transition and transformation of our career path. No kidding. I told you everything I've done since 2008, you wouldn't believe it. All right. So I've done so many things career-wise. The whole goal is to kind of like burn down the unreal and resurrect what's truly right for you. And we're coming to the tail end of that journey in the next couple of years. So this particular treasure in the 10th house of public reputation and career is having Mercury doing the sleuthing and the digging. Now, Mercury sleuthing from the 7th house of your business contacts, like your business partners, your spouse or your primary significant others, but also your clients, audience, and other. Mercury here could be asking you to revise that whole area, especially when it comes to, since it's on a career angle, the Pluto, how you reach your audience, how you reach your clients, how you reach out to those others. And Mercury going retrograde is like, okay, like, you know, he pinged something way back in September 22nd. Now around October 1st, he perfects that square to Pluto from a retrograde motion to go back and revise some kind of agreements you've made with others, partners, business partners, love partners possibly, but also to go back and revise how you reach out to your clients and your audience and your others, particularly like your fan base, that kind of vibe. And then by the time November 1st comes around, you know, then he does a last square to Pluto. You've got it all in hand, and you've got new career treasures by revising that 7th house content. You know, you might find that this could be a powerful change of status. I mean, Pluto in the 10th house is where, you know, I'm married, I'm divorced, I'm separated, I'm engaged, you know, our status in the world, our reputation. So we could be transforming that by November 1st. Some of you Aries may be making announcements that you're engaged, or you got married, or you're separated, you got divorced, whatever, those sorts of things. Good news, Mercury trine Jupiter, September 19th, then October 3rd retrograde, and then direct on November 1st. Three good news stories, probably all connected. Well, where does the good news come from? Mercury is giving you the news, but Jupiter is where the goodness is. It's in the 11th house of good spirit. It's where you have your allies and benefactors and friends who want to help you. This is also your kind of social reputation when it comes to large scale stuff, like groups of people and belonging to groups of people and shining, brightly in the house of, the larger social world. So Jupiter could be bringing you some good news here from a friend who would like to benefit you, so like give you some opportunity. Keyword for Jupiter is opportunity, from an ally or a friend up there, an opportunity through a group of people you belong to. I always joke, I say, I belong to the Society of Astrologers. Maybe I'll have an opportunity to do something with an astrologer colleague, and it'll be a great opportunity for me. Now, hey, I just did a recording with my astrology teacher, Achyuta Baba of Nightlight Astrology, that happened in the aftermath of the September 19th, trine from Mercury to Jupiter. So there's an example, right? And I got to be on his channel, and it was really lovely because it boosted some of my followers on my own channel here. Link below to that interview in my description box. And it's about becoming a professional astrologer and really ultimately taking Adam's / Achyuta Baba's course. I call him Adam a lot because he was Adam when I studied with him in 2018. And I'm studying with him again right now in a second year program to further my learning. So I will also say that pay attention to the opportunity for a windfall. There's no doubt about it. Jupiter is about that kind of thing and going really big. This is a house of pennies from heaven, the windfall vibe. And Mercury's in the house of others. If there is a windfall, it could be coming through another or by another or a collaboration with another. Certainly a good day to hold hands with your bestie and buy a lottery ticket together, which I just did with my daughter. So who knows? We'll see what happens. And that's about it, Aquarius. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, hey guys, treasure guarded by the dragon in the 9th house of Dharma, purpose, higher education, foreign lands, book publishing. So for some of you, there's a treasure up there, like maybe you want to study something in a college or campuses or universities, and there's a treasure waiting for you. And then, with Mercury, or a trip to a foreign shore, or a book deal if you're wanting to publish a book, or you're trying to find your deeper purpose in life, that treasure is up there. Now, Mercury is going to be participating from the 6th house of work and health protocols. Now, if it's from the house of work and it has to do with higher education, it simply could be said that you're going to have treasure and a good news development about something you're going to study that will eventually become a really powerful backup, like a source of backbone for your work in the world. This can also be good messages coming from colleagues or coworkers that can support a trip abroad, a powerful journey to a foreign shore, that kind of thing. Mercury is also revising your health protocols. He's going retrograde, Taurus, to help you find better ways to be healthy as well. And also to be, happy in your place of employment, because he's going to revise the way you operate there to create goodness. And I do think that you're going to find by the last pass of this, November 2nd, when there is the last direct motion. So pay attention to October 1st, the retrograde square, but then November 2nd, you're going to find November 2nd, Mercury going direct is going to bring something really good. Before he does that in your education story, in your work story, in your health story, Mercury will, sextile Venus on the 18th or so when he gets ready to go direct of October, when he's stationing direct. And that is going to possibly, given what Venus is doing in Sagittarius at the time, bring you some really good news around finances, like a student loan, a bank loan, someone backing your money for school or money for a trip, or your spouse has money and you guys can spend it or whatever. But there's some good news coming back at the turnaround point around the 18th. Lastly, Jupiter. Good news. Mercury trine Jupiter is just good news, opportunity, expansion, luck, and growth coming through Mercury, messenger, the news guy. September the 19th was the first pass. October 3rd is retrogradation, and direct motion is November 1st. Good news in three pieces, right? Good developments. Well, we know where this is happening from Mercury's point of view. It's health and work protocols, but it's going to be the retrogradation on October 3rd. It's about digging in, but it's about what Jupiter has to say. He's the guy that's bringing the goodness from your 10th house of your reputation in the world and your career path and your, how you do things in the world where people see you. So, oh my goodness, for some of you, it's definitely a promotion. For some Tauruses, there's a promotion, ahoy. And you may have experienced a whiff of it around September 19th, but October 3rd, there might be a revision, or you might be digging into agreements, or you might be going through interviews. And then maybe November 3rd, you're getting an offer, or things are going forward. You're in your new position or job. So it looks very much like a work promotion, but it could be other things too. A change in your health as well, because of something you're doing in your work that helps your health. Okay. All righty, moving on. Oh, last, finally, but not least, is the Gemini folk. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. Guess what? You've got a treasure guarded by the dragon in a money house, the 8th house. Now, Pluto is happy in the 8th house because it's Scorpio's house normally, and he's the modern ruler of Scorpio. Plus, he likes things that are hidden and under the wraps, like the slimy thing under the rock is what Pluto says. It's pretty interesting. And that's kind of your 8th house, taboo house, sex, death, and drugs, mischief, kinky sex. Oh my God, death. So it's the things we don't normally look at too closely in life. They're in an aversion to life, really. But Pluto here is got like guarding and treasure, and it is a money house. It's spousal money, inheritance money, taxes and loans and bank loans and tax rebates and royalty income. So we got wealth potential, money from business, speculations, investments, stock market stuff. So Pluto is sitting here for you Geminis with this treasure he's guarding, and it looks like Mercury is digging it up and getting his nose into it from the 5th house of money speculation and money luck. So possibly, hey, you could be investing or having a stock you've invested in pay off. You could be having some good news about an inheritance. It might have been way late, but now things are moving forward. Your spouse might have some good money news because it's a house of money shared with spouse, that kind of thing. Your children could bring you some good money news because it's coming from Mercury's in the house of children. And if you're creative and artistic, something that you're doing as an artist or creator could pay off big time when it comes to royalty income or money, especially Mercury in Libra, library Libra. If you're writing a book, this could be really good for you, especially because Jupiter is in the house of book publishing for you Geminis. And it is going to be Jupiter trining Mercury, or Mercury trining Jupiter, September 19th, October 3rd, November 1st. They could be foreign lands, book publishing, higher education, good developments for you as well. To go back briefly, though, to the treasure in your 8th house, the money house. Well, that's going to be big money, by the way, especially in Capricorn. Just go back to September 22nd to see what was going on with finances in your life then, because by the time you get to October 1st, when he is retrograding square Pluto, you're going to be able to see what this money juice is for. And then November 2nd, he moves forward. And as he does move forward, by the way, well, he's already forward, but he's forward motion in his last square to Pluto. Finally, just to touch base on that Venus bit for you guys, which I didn't do for everyone, but when, Mercury sextiles Venus, and Venus will be in Sagittarius at the time as it gets ready to go direct. This is going to be very good for business partnerships and for your marriage. A lot of you Geminis could be looking at really good developments in that part of the chart, but also lucrative, okay, hear the word lucrative, legal contracts coming to you, courtesy of the October 18th station of Mercury sextiling Venus and trining Saturn in the house of book publishing, higher education, and foreign shorts. So very good, sweet stuff going on there. Thanks, guys, for listening. I am done. The all signs Mercury retrograde. Please like, please subscribe. Please check my description box below so you know what I'm doing and that you can catch the wave of any sales I have and anything I'm up to. Interview with my teacher, Achuta Baba at Nightlight Astrology. Only half an hour. It's kind of a fun interview if you're really geeking out on astrology. I talk about my transformation, my come to Jesus moment when I discovered Hellenistic astrology, and it changed my world. It rocked my world. All right, take care, guys. Mwah. See you soon.